What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Big Things Kentucky. We live, baby. Coach Bew, what's up with you, man?
What's going on, man? Have no fear. Big Things Kentucky is here. I'm Coach Bew, my man, Coach TB on side. The Coach Truck, what's good, sir?
Man, not much. We got a packed up show for y'all tonight. You know, we didn't go live Thursday. I was still going through some stuff. We put a lot of stuff out. But here we are, Coach, man, finishing up this regular season. My 8-5 Broncos, Coach, you know, hey, what more can I say, Coach?
Coach, man, I'm telling you what, it was a great second half adjustment by Coach Poe and the defensive coordinators. You know, offense was there. They just missed a few key things. Once they gave the ball to TJ Horton and let him do his thing, it made a difference. Opened up the passing game for him. Allowed guys like Tylen Webb to get behind the defense, get a few scores. So, man, it was a great game plan by Douglas. Congratulations to him.
Coach, man, first of all, just kind of wrapping up the season, man, I think we had, for Lexington, for Big Things County period, man, we had an amazing season, Coach.
Man,
from start to finish, Coach.
You had Wolf County was great again this year. Just a little bit of wait for making it. Frederick Douglass was spectacular, like we knew they would be this year. Bryan Station was good. Finally got everybody healthy. It was a totally different team from that first game to that last game of the year. Dunbar's been consistent because they stay consistent. LCA, you know, had a change of the guards at quarterback. Had some lumps early on, but came back. Was just a game away for the championship. Then going on, Lafayette, you know, got some work to do to improve. Creek look better.
Scott County, great crossing, Coach. Yeah, man, I mean,
I'm telling you what, Scott County probably more than anybody. Coach McKee knew they was gonna be good, but I was like, maybe this is the year the Great Cross takes over. They couldn't get it done though, because Scott County is still the big dog there up north, Coach.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, I mean, like I said, across the board, man, I mean, since we started doing this program, you know, up until now, man, we have seen just an explosion in Big Things County, man. We got kids going D1, getting offers, scholarships, and we kind of sat here and been in a front row seat and watched this thing just blow up, Coach.
It has, man. And like I said, you know, I'm telling you this. I think people got to realize you can get recruited anywhere. A lot of these coaches, Fred Douglas made a lot of these coaches step their game up as far as selling these kids a little better. But, you know, like I know, the work is done in the off season at your camps, getting out, going to these camps, getting seen, and having a good showing. I say a lot of Chop's offers came from his showing at these camps, his strength, going one-on-one skills, working on those things, maybe going outside of your regular workout schedule and finding your trainer and getting better. But, you know, I think it's the best group of coaches we've had in the city in a long time. Coach Gay and Henry Clay, Coach Hawks and Tage Creek, man, it's so the sky's the limit. And they already catch a fairly young coach.
Yes, sir. And now we got this reclassification coming on. Looks like, you know, from everything that everybody, the pre-stuff, Douglas will be going to 6A. Woo-wee, Coach. Hey, they move into a district with, you know, who knows how they're going to set the districts up. But now that frees them up to schedule more teams, you know what I'm saying? So now we can finally see, you know, as before they had one free game, you know, they're going to have a lot more. So it'll be interesting to see how the schedule tips out, you know, in the upcoming years with Douglas. You know, maybe we'll get to see my male, man, speaking of male, I'm sorry, I just got to get out. First of all, shout out to KHSAA. You know, a lot of people don't like the RPI, you know, they complain about that and everything. But since we had the RPI, I think we've had some of the best, you know, 1 through 6 games for the whole weekend. You know what I'm saying? Because, man, we had some amazing games this weekend, Coach.
Man, I'm going to tell you this. Bowling Green. Mark it down. Bowling Green will be back on win a championship within the next 2 years. I guarantee it in 5A. That's how impressive they were. They're the young quarterbacks, the sophomore. Just got thrown the quarterback this year. Once they started, the quarterback went down. So Bowling Green will win a state championship within the next 2 years, Coach, in 5A. But yes, great weekend. I love the RPI. I thought it was great. You got some great matchups. You got Station having a home game. 6A Lexington School hasn't had a home game in a long, long time, Coach. So it's great for Station to have that home game. It was packed. A lot of old defenders there. A lot of people there to see the game. So it was great to have that atmosphere there at Bryan Station.
Man, you talk about that, and like you say, man, I want to give a shout out to my coach, Coach Phil Hawkins, man, and the job he's doing at Bryan Station. Also, this is something that just came up just, a couple of days ago. Frank Parks now has been named the head coach at Danville. Now, there's been a lot of, people looking sideways, but I just it's going to be interesting to see how Coach Parks does at a place where we know he's going to get that support from top to bottom. You know what I'm saying? Danville is all about championships and, that pedigree. That's almost a blue blood program. So I can't wait to see what he can do, one, when he's got resources and support. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that goes. And, he's to the point where, almost he's got to prove himself. You know what I'm saying? So
I disagree with that. I don't think he has anything to prove to himself. He made it. I say this because he made that Berea team better. He took over a bad Bryan Station team after the other coach left, after, the coach in between our guy, our Coach Lucas and him. Frank turned his team around with some great athletes, a lot of talent. I think Frank's biggest problem was, one, he didn't have the help of the administration, as you spoke on, and as he spoke on before. Two, didn't have that support from the parents that he needed, which they're finally doing now. And three, his staff. I thought his staff was part of his biggest downfall a lot of times. Some of the guys he entrusted to have his back didn't necessarily have his back. So I think he's got that figured out, and he'll be ready to go and succeed in Danville, Coach. I think it's a great hire.
Well, it's going to be both interesting, well, to see, how that goes. We got our first guest should be coming up here. We're waiting on Coach Poe to log on my Frederick Douglass defense coordinator, man. I would love to get a chance to talk to Coach Poe, probably one of the unsung heroes of that team. A lot of people don't know about the coordinators, you know what I'm saying? But this dude, probably one of the best defenses in the state, he coordinated, you know what I'm saying? And it even showed, the adjustments that he made and the things he did to get that team where it needed to be and to dominate that second half and win a state championship here for Lexington, which Lexington hasn't had a state championship since 2009, if I'm right. That was Lexington Catholic, I believe. Or was it LCA?
No, LCA, Coach. Yeah, get your schools right. LCA, the Lexington school to win one, but Fred Douglass is the first public school to win one since Henry Clay many moons ago. So shout out to them for what they did back then, and shout out to Douglas for what they done, Coach. I'll tell you what, Coach Poe, man, he's been over there just in the background, just doing his thing, just going along with the program. He took over defensive coordinator, I think, last year, year before, and has had this defense rolling. That secondary has been impressive. It's a D1 secondary with the Ty Bryants and all them guys back there. That whole secondary is impressive, Coach. Yes. And not counting them big dogs up front on that front line, Hand and the Harkless.
Yeah. Man, that was crazy. And while we waiting on Coach Poe, I just want to give a shout out to our Niners coach, man. We looking like a Super Bowl favorite team right now today on TV right now, Coach. Somebody check on Q Walker, man. If anybody close to Q Walker, man, just kind of call him, dog. See how you doing.
First of all, Coach, there's only I don't know a few 49ers fan. That's my guy Ozon Mitchell. Shout out to Ozon Mitchell, and my guy Justin Kicks, aka Justin Tall. So we don't count you. My brother Brian, we don't count you in as a 49er fan. I keep telling you, you stay where you was.
Oh, hey, we look good, though.
All right, man. In other news, Coach, man, I'll tell you what, it's truly been a well-rounded year as far as high school football. Middle school football got a little better. Hayes got dethroned. Chad, at least that was impressive. Hopefully, a lot of kids will stay around. A lot of kids look back going to other schools and outside the state, but outside the city. But it's gonna be interesting to see what all goes down, Coach.
Now, looking at Frederick Douglass, and just kind of looking into the future real quick. just here we go. We got our man Coach Poe on right now. We're gonna bring on Coach Poe. Coach, man, have you got much sleep since Friday, Coach,
Saturday? I've got plenty of sleep. I didn't sleep too much that night, by all means, but since then, been getting it in.
Now, Coach Poe, I got to jump right in it. First question I got is, what was your game play in the first half with your defense? I know you tried to spy a little bit on the quarterback, probably played a little more relaxed, a lot more maybe covered defense than you was being aggressive. So what made you do that, and what was you looking for in the first half to see from this young man in that offense for Bowling Green?
Going into the game, seeing that Deuce, I believe number 2 on Bowling Green, phenomenal player, extremely bright future. Kid can run it, but he's more poised than I think what a lot of people would think, especially being a sophomore that can take off and has a strong arm. So we were going to do more things with this being a little bit more passive, of making sure our zones were covered, not give him anything underneath by any means, and to try to either hit some stuff deep, or if he wanted to take off because we had everything covered, we'd have a better chance of getting them on the ground. That worked a little bit, not by far as much as we wanted to early on, because that kid's a heck of a player and they had a heck of an offense and they had a good game plan as well coming out.
Now, hold up, man. My second part. I know Coach everybody asked, but I'm going to ask this. Whoa, Lord, what did you do in the second half? You dialed up that pressure. That young man was running for his life the rest of the night, and that had to be the difference in the game, Coach.
Oh, I agree with you 100% being there. We went into halftime after seeing that I couldn't get a rush with 3. They did a phenomenal job of blocking my guys up front. We've been able for the most part throughout the year to be able to get a rush with 3. That we had to change it up. We've had some blitzes and things in the package, but they were going to be more just for third down with some of the stuff we were going to do. We went to some of those and saying it may be an early down or it could be third down if we get to that chance. But we're going to go ahead and start calling some of these. We also drew up about 2 or 3 more that we haven't used. We used in previous years but haven't used before, and went to those and made some smaller adjustments there of just saying we need to get pressure on him now to get him moving. We knew he can move around the pocket, still can throw it, but we needed to get him just a little bit more shaky back there and not give him as much time to be like, okay, here's this kid and bomb, here's a 40-yard pass that he hit in the first half, to where more he had to feel that pressure and either throw it away, which he did a few times, or even get a chance for us to take it, which I think we did later on in that second half.
Now, Coach, man, just introduce everybody to you, Coach. Where you come from, how long you been there. Just tell us your story, Coach.
I'm originally from Middlesboro, Kentucky, southeastern Kentucky, Bell County. If anybody knows where that is by any means, it's down the hills of nowhere. Love that place. But played all my years of football down there. Played 1 year at the University of Pikeville when Coach Dudley Hilton, who's still coaching at Bell County now, was my head coach there. Was going to go to University of Kentucky, the walk on, and to try that route. Didn't work out. And then the next year, me being at the University of Kentucky, I had a great opportunity to become like a student assistant. Did a lot of work over there. Was over there for about 3.5 years. That's how I eventually got to Douglas, because when I was over there, when Coach Landis originally got hired over for us over at Douglas, he asked me then, because I was getting ready to graduate. He's like, "You want to come along with me and to see this and then try to build this thing?" And I always thought, even once I never thought I would ever coach college football. When I had the chance to, when I was over there working, I always thought I'd be in high school. I thought I'd always go back home to Millsboro, take care of that program, help out that program as much as possible. And I didn't. I like being up here in Lexington. I like the community. And once he said, "There's this opportunity to build this program," I said, "Sure, why not?" And came along and has been over here ever since, and stayed upon with Coach at Peck, and he's been a great leader and has helped me grow a lot as a coach, and then helping me build and to do this thing.
I got 2 questions, Coach. First one, what do you tell a young coach that gets into this coaching game who may want to jump right in and be a coordinator right away and not pay the dues like you have? What do you tell a young coach, man, about being patient, just waiting their turn?
I think, I mean, it's a grind. It's an extreme grind if you want to be really good at this. And you have to pay your dues at the end of the day. You got to take some time, learn from some others, because there's so much in those early part of years of just trying to figure out like what's your philosophy as a coach, how are you going to handle kids, how are you going to handle certain situations when you talk to parents besides ball. I think ball's the easiest part once you kind of settle down and want to figure out like, hey, I want to run this scheme, or hey, I want to run that scheme, and you can always ask people. But I think it's very important for anybody who wants to get into this is just to understand at the end of the day that you need to talk to as many people as possible, get as many different viewpoints and things from that from people that's done it, because there's a lot to learn and things change every single year. It's no different than even though we played last Saturday and the way my mind works, I'm already thinking about next season, and I know I'm going to have to build, and the rest of our staff's going to have to build off certain things we did well and go learn from other coaches that were successful at certain things, or even if they weren't, you need to go and hear those things. And I think it's a big thing for any young coach is just needing to get out there, talk to people, learn, go to clinics, any opportunity you can. Now you have this great resource and having Twitter and the much stuff that gets put on there and stuff you can learn from and networking, but it can be a lot. I remember one of my very first things when I was at University of Kentucky and talking when the guy I worked with the most was Jimmy Brumball. He says, one thing if you want to get into coaching, he said, you got to be a little bit crazy. And I was like, what do you mean by that? He says, from the hours you're going to put in, from the things you're going to have to deal with, from the hardships and things you're going to deal with kids and their families and helping them grow as young people, it's not easy. And you got to be slightly crazy to get into it. It's a joy every single day. Yes, there's hardships and there's crazy parts in it, but it's something you just got to continually work on.
All right, Coach. Now, you were here from the beginning, just real quick. What was some of I know Landis had a defensive background. What were some of your influences that got you where you are now? Who are some of the people you learned from that really helped shape the Coach Poe defense?
From a lot of mine, I want to say it first starts off from back when I was in high school, from my high school coach, Kenny Roark. Phenomenal coach, played at University of Kentucky, won a state championship at Middlesboro in 1998. A lot of the stuff that I'm going through, and I graduated from high school in 2010. We didn't have all these things like huddle and all this other stuff now that a lot of these kids have, but from the drawings and all this, a lot of the same stuff that we do and have done here and as well as other places reminds me of the defense we ran when I was in high school. So I think that'd be a big part being there. Obviously, with my time over there at Kentucky, with being around Coach Stoops, Coach Jimmy Brumball, Coach Derek LeBlanc, Kurt D-line coach over Anwar Stewart. Those have been great people that have helped me a lot even now talking to them. Coach DJ Elliott, Derek Ansley, who coaches with the Los Angeles Chargers. One of my real good buddies, Jonathan Cooley, who coaches with the Rams. I have a lot. Being over there and seeing some of the guys that went on and doing some great things that I could continue to talk to all help me now. I contribute a lot of my success as a play caller or doing anything from them. And it's still the same as people working with in the building, where it's Coach Peck, Coach Harris, Coach Skinner, all those guys. Even from the offensive side that was working in high school, of just understanding. That's probably one of the biggest things going into the season is understanding how our offense is going to attack you, what things they're going to look at, stuff like that. I've learned tons from them as well.
All right, hold on. I got a guest I want to bring on just, to kind of help us keep this rolling. We got a special guest. We got a head coach, Coach McPete, at my coach, championship coach, Coach McPete. Man, I know you ain't slept much, Coach. You've been on everybody's podcast and everything, Coach.
Yeah. Hey, how many coaches do you have, by the way? You say my coach on everybody.
Oh, man.
Thank you. I thank you for finally calling him out on his foolishness. Thank you.
I do like
win and we ride.
Thank you, Aaron. Coach say we win and we ride. Now we got the championship coaches on here. Like you said, man, y'all both started out on this staff, the original staff at Frederick Douglass. Y'all have been through all the ups and the downs of this program. How did it feel to finally kind of get over that hump and y'all knowing that y'all built this from the ground up?
I guess I'll go first and I'll let Coach Poe. For me, I was real happy for the kids, obviously, because a lot of our guys have, been through a lot of heartache in that game. It's a blessing to play in the game, obviously, being there 3 times. But I was really happy for our staff and our players more so than myself. Obviously, it feels good, to be a state championship head football coach. That goes without saying, but really happy for our players and our coaches, just knowing kind of where we started. We've had a lot of good players, and that's, I get that a lot from media and people is, we've had talented players, and we have, but, there's a lot of work that goes into that, a lot of late nights, a lot of time away from our families, as Coach Poe alluded to a little bit ago. If you're going to do this right, you have to be a little crazy, and he's right. You're doing a lot of free labor. You're doing a lot of time away from your families. So you have to be that way. And if you're going to do it right, not every coach is in this business to do it 100% and go all out. And we are at Douglas. That's what we want to do. And I think there's a lot of great coaches in the city that want to do the same thing. And but for me personally, it was great just to see the kids and the coaches just, that type of feeling that they finally have achieved something that hadn't been done in a long time here.
Now, before we get there, I just want to say, Coach, man, I was looking at you on the sidelines, and when that clock hit by 10 seconds, Coach, I don't know if it was all kind of something bubbled up out of you, Coach. I ain't never seen Coach McPhee so happy. You had about a 30-inch vertical, Coach.
Hey, I'm a good athlete still. I'm old, but I'm a good athlete. But no, there's just a lot, like I said, a lot of built up emotion, both positive and negative. I'm pretty fired up most of the time. A lot of people don't see me in practice like that, but I am like that a lot. Being a head coach, you kind of got to be even keel, and try to, keep the kids that way. So I've kind of had to flip from being a coordinator to that the last 3 years, and just try to be a constant leader for everybody in the organization, because it is an organization. It's not just a football team, with our numbers of players and our booster club and everybody involved, it's a lot of moving parts. So, but it's great that everybody's, rowing in the same direction. We finally got a state championship for Douglas.
Now, what does Coach Poe just kind of tell us how he helps and what he brings to you as the head coach to this program?
The biggest thing, obviously, he's a great coach. He's great with the kids. He's a great relationship builder. He's willing to spend time with kids when they ask, whether it's football related or if they need relationship advice, they need advice on things. He's good with it. But that's the biggest thing. And for me, just building this thing from the ground up, he's become one of my best friends. And, just to build that off of, I can't vent to a lot of people in this business. And he'll tell you that, but I do to him. And, it's good for me to be able to talk about things with him that I may not be able to necessarily talk to with our entire staff or players. Just things that, ideas bouncing off each other, or if I had a bad day, because obviously we have those as head football coaches. And he's been a constant for me in my life through this process. And I can't thank him enough for not only being a great coach, but just a great friend to me.
Coach Poe, he's doing a good job to keep you around for a few more years, man. I know you're a hot commodity, Coach. Don't fall for it, Coach. Ready to be up close your door. Now, man, it's great relationship you all have, man. But, Coach, let me ask you, I mean, we have such a great defense this year. Of course, you're going to be coveted. I know you are, like Coach McPhee is probably every year. I mean, how does it feel to be, so wanted from both of you all?
I mean, it comes with territory if you're going to be successful. If you win, you win state championships. Obviously, people are going to put your name up there for this and that. If the opportunities come. But you got to, and at the end of the day, I think it's just enjoying where you're at the time that it is. Because Douglas is a great place. I understand by all means, not every program can be what we are. It takes having an administration support. It takes having community support. It comes with having a great coaching staff and developing kids that want to do things like this. So, I mean, every place can't be this. At the end of the day, you want to help and grow it. But I think we're all realistic with that. At the end of the day, it's like Douglas is a special place. No different than with people like at St. Extra Trinity. They know those are special places because of the way it's built and the way they have so much support, not only just for the people that are going to be on the football field, but everywhere else around it. and you can't get that everywhere. And we've built that here, and that's the reason why I think so many people from the original staff are still here and haven't went on to take other ventures because of that. Because we enjoy being around each other, we enjoy coaching, we enjoy of seeing all of us be successful and growing up in our lives. So it's just great being here and enjoying every minute of it as we keep doing this thing.
Now, Coach McPete, this is one thing. I know right now everything's kind of unsettled. You know, we've got the reclassification and all that coming up. Does that help you? I mean, how does that affect you as far as like scheduling? Because, you know, now it's kind of where you do a new rotation as far as setting your schedule. Are you able to kind of schedule games not knowing exactly what's going on? How has that helped you or hurt you getting ready for next year?
You know, I'll be honest. I haven't looked a whole lot at 23 yet. A few things. I'm still. I mean, I didn't really get a chance to enjoy the state championship that much because college recruiting started Monday, and Coach Poe can tell you I've been very busy this past week. So it's a blessing because we have good players, but I didn't really get an opportunity to sit back and really enjoy the title, probably like some other people may have had an opportunity to do. I'm looking forward to Christmas break of kind of sitting back and realizing what we did. Because if there's one thing that head coaches have told me that have won state championships, and I've talked to some this week, they said, enjoy it. January will come and you'll get ready for 23, but you need to make sure you enjoy this because it's rare. So I'm going to take that advice. But, you know, I have talked to Coach Haddix. I mean, we can't finalize any contracts or anything yet, but we're going to try to keep that game going for sure. It's a great game for both programs, I think. You know, depending upon our district, you know, what KHSAA does, whether it's a 14 district or a 5 team, it looks like there's 9 local 6A teams. So, you know, if they keep Great Crossings down here, or if they move them to Northern Kentucky, they may keep us 4-4. I don't know. I think that's probably what they'll do is move Great Crossings to Northern Kentucky, but I don't know that for a fact, obviously. If that happens, you know, we only have 3 district games. So it'll open up our schedule quite a bit. You know, the top teams in 5 and 6A are probably the only ones that, you know, we're going to schedule, you know, 4A as well with Boyle. You know, I know Cordman's got some openings that might be a possibility once the contracts get finalized. So, you know, just those top echelon 4, 5, 6A teams in the state. Hopefully we can get that schedule filled out and be able to have those types of opponents. But a lot of that's going to depend upon obviously the district and 6A. But I haven't worked on it specifically, just a couple of things, but hopefully we'll know something here in January and we can move forward. But, you know, a lot of people have talked about the 6A thing and, you know, and Coach Poe will tell you this, we played in 6A the first 2 years. You know, we played 6A football with 400 boys. So, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of people point to that. Oh, well, they're just a 6A program and just won 5A. And that's not the case. You know, we played 6A the first 2 years and did really well. And obviously it's a great classification. It's the highest one in the state. But, you know, we can compete right there with those teams. I really believe that. There's a reason why I've scrimmaged Trinity and St. X and those people because I knew we were going to have to play them eventually. So, you know, that's kind of why I had that plan in mind. But, you know, a lot of people forget about that. We played 6A the first 2 seasons out of the gate.
Tell them, Coach. That's my coach. What I'm trying to tell you. Coach Bill, you got anything else for coaches, man? You know, we just wanted to catch up with y'all, you know, bring Coach McPete on. And I do want to know. We line up the offense and the defense. I know y'all go against each other in practice. Who's coming out on top, Coach?
I'll let Coach Poe answer that question.
Look, it can go either way in any day. I'm being honest with that because I know a lot of people's talked about our defense and what we've done this year by all means, but there's plenty of times we was in practice and the offense kicked up on us. It all depends on what the first play is and what our kids feed off of from there. So I'm not trying to give the coach an answer. I'm just being 100% real being in there. It depends. I honestly believe on the very first play. If they're ever going to be a little bit more successful, I'll hang the hat on them. If we're successful in that very first play, I'm going to hang the hat more with us. But it all depends on that.
Now, I will say this about that question is I really feel like that's why we won a state championship is there's segments of practice from July until December that we go against each other. We have a really good offense. Obviously, we finished top 3 in the state. Obviously, historical defense, giving up less than 5 points a game, led by Coach Poe and our D staff. It was fun to watch from my perspective as a head coach, to watch our defense fly around to the ball. They were very talented, but they were very well coached. We wouldn't have won a state championship without them being well coached. Same thing with our offense. So our staff did an unbelievable job. They probably don't get enough credit the way they deserve. They grind, they work. And our players will tell you that they've gotten a lot better since they entered our program from their freshman year on. And that's due to the fact that we have a really good coaching staff. We've had a lot to replace. Guys leave, get out of it, maybe take other jobs. But the one thing is constant, and that's it. We're going to play great defense. We're going to play great special teams. We're going to run the football. And that's been a formula to help us win 70 games in 6 years. We're 70-9 using that formula. We've been great. We've had some great players, but it all starts with playing great defense. And Coach Poe did a phenomenal job this year.
All right, Coach B, you got anything else, Coach?
Man, congratulations, both of you gentlemen. We enjoyed you, man. Great ride this year. Thank you what you did for high school football. Thank you for representing the city of Lexington and Weldon. Hats off to both of you all and that Frederick Douglass team.
Thank y'all, coaches.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you.
I'll get some rest and enjoy this, Coach McPete. We'll be looking for you early when the spring start.
Sounds good. Appreciate y'all. Have a good night. And Merry Christmas to you and your families, and Happy New Year.
Same to you all, Coach. Thank you.
See ya.
All right, Coach B. We ain't going to even get a chance to rest because we got our man, the Professor Peck. What's going on, Jared? What you been up to, man?
Been taking a break. That's what I've been up to. It's nonstop for I don't know, since August or July 16th or 15th. And people wonder why I'm not at basketball games yet. It's like, well, I'm not going to be at basketball games at least for another week. So this is the only amount of work I'm doing right now, being with you guys.
All right, Jared. Man, just we kind of talked about, this past season, just wrapping up the season. Is there anything you want to add? Just kind of tell us your experience about this football season we just concluded.
Well, you touched on how people, get upset about the RPI and how it's kind of messy on the way to the finals. But once we get to the finals, I mean, the first 3 classes were 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3, 1 versus 2. I mean, the 2 teams that are supposed to be playing at Kroger Field on the last Friday and Saturday of the season, in the first week of December, those are some pretty good games. I mean, we had 4 good games and 2 kind of games, but I mean, who else was going to stand up to Pikeville besides Raceland? Nobody. Who else is going to stand up to Cal besides Bardstown? Nobody. Although Tillman gives them a fit every year. Tillman just needs to buy into Kroger Field to see what they can do. I don't think anybody's going to approve that or not. But no, it was a lot of fun. I mean, the last 2 days, those are great games. Close, Mayfield and Beechwood. I mean, I need the rabbit's foot the Beechwood's got for their voodoo hex on the other team's special teams. That's unbelievable.
Yes.
How that goes down. And then Bull Corbin was great.
Yeah.
Douglas Bowling Green was it was iffy for a while, and then to the end, Douglas kind of said, yeah, this is who we are. And then I mean, what else can you hope for from a 6A championship game? But what we got in that Bullitt East comeback in that game, everybody thought Bullitt East was dead after 14-0. 2 turnovers and 14-0. It was like, well, this is over. And then it ain't over. And that was one of the. I mean, we remember the Somerset Mayfield game and the last play on the untimed down. I mean, that 2-point conversion, that probably tops it. That was unbelievable, and it's so much fun.
Yes.
Man, let me ask you, do you feel like, well, I'm gonna start with Lexington. Do you feel like the teams around Lexington were better this year than they had been previous years, talent-wise and coaches?
I don't think there's any question that they're better than they've been historically, Tate's Creek got a playoff win in a thrilling game. If you saw them win against Clark County in the final minutes, and then I think Tate's Creek's coming on. Right now, I mean, it's tough in the city to have everybody be good. I mean, because one, they all play each other, just about. And if it's not mandated by Fayette County, then it's a district game, so it's hard for everybody to be on top. But we've had Tate's Creek win a region in the last 4 years. Bryan Station just won their first region in 20 years. Dunbar's been to a region, won a region in the last 4 years. There's a lot of Lafayette's been on the downside for a while, but Dunbar's up. I think Bryan Station's way up. Tate's Creek's on the way up. I don't think we can. Henry Clay is just Henry Clay and Bryan Station had to deal with Douglas coming along and dealing with the split of their talent base, and Station's handled that a lot better than Henry Clay is, I think. But that Henry Clay team, it gave some people trouble during the season. I mean, they didn't lay down for anybody. But LCA's going to be good. Lexington Catholic being as good as they were this year and getting a Boyle County win.
Yes.
And you never would have seen that. I mean, that was one quarter for the ages right there. That fourth quarter against Boyle County was just Friday Night Lights personified. It was amazing. And they couldn't recreate it in the playoffs. And I think they kind of stumbled in the first drive, and I kind of set them back a little bit. And Boyle County's really good. I mean, they won their third straight state title. So that's a hard division to come out of. But, I mean, we'll see what Lexington Catholic can do maybe if they shed Boyle County as a district rival. I mean, I'm sure they would I don't know if Lexington Catholic would request up or what would happen there, but I'd be interested to see what Lexington Catholic can do in a new division with a new set of district rivals.
Now, talking about that, what's your thoughts on this upcoming realignment and its effects on Lexington?
Well, it depends on where Great Crossing goes and what happens there, and if they keep Bryan Station with George Rogers Clark and Madison Central and what happens there. But they could all, we talk about them not having to play each other anymore because the district's going to relent and let them out of that mandate. But then they might be playing each other as district rivals anyway, and they might need to play because we're going to be sister districts coming up pretty soon in 6A anyway. I mean, I think it's exciting for Lexington. I think they all need to be 6A schools for the city publics. I mean, I think Douglas, we don't know when the Louisville teams, Trinity and St. X and Mel, are going to wake up and be the big, 800-pound gorillas again. They weren't that this year because Bullitt East came and got it. And so if Bullitt East is a sign of things to come, then I think Douglas and Bryan Station can compete in that kind of 6A division. But if Bullitt East is a shot in the dark, and it's just a layover until Trinity and St. X wake up again, then it's going to, they're going to be making their way to the state semifinals and maybe get to the state finals if they're lucky. And then Trinity and St. X are just going to run roughshod. But, I mean, I hope there's parity. I hope that maybe everybody's caught Trinity and St. X a little bit, and it's not just that Trinity and St. X are down, because I think the feeling is that Trinity and St. X are down. Yeah. And what I hope is that everybody else is up and catching them.
All right. Well, Jared, man, Bill, you got anything else for Jared?
Man, real quick, watching that Bowling Green team play, is it safe to say that they're going to be probably back to the state championship in the next 2 years, and definitely a chance to win in one of them years? Yeah,
I think the only knock on the Bowling Green team was they were young. I mean, the quarterback was a sophomore. Like, one of the playmakers was a sophomore. I mean, a lot of that team was young. They were kind of too young for that moment to be playing Frederick Douglass, and good on them for getting to the state finals. But yeah, I think Bowling Green's going to be a nightmare next year in 5A. They're not going to be any fun to play. That Deuce Bailey kid is unbelievable, and
Yes.
they mixed it up on him and prevented him from finding his first read in the second half. But he was lighting them up in the first half. Nobody, like I said it in my story, Bowling Green had more yards in the first half, 250 something, than the first 4.5 teams that Douglas had played. Nobody moved. It took the middle of the Dunbar game before Douglas had given up 250 yards this season.
Wow.
So Bowling Green's ability to do that and kind of, land a punch in the first half, that was something that put that game in doubt. I mean, if a turnover, something goes sketchy, that turnover at the beginning of the first half, if Bowling Green had been able to make something of that, we might have a completely different result. But fortunately for Douglas, that defense is really, really good and didn't allow him a single yard after that turnover. So that's what we got. But I think Bowling Green, it's going to be there's a reason why the Purples are always around, and that their defense is one big part of that. And then the way they cater their offense to who they've got is the other big part of that.
All right. Now, Jared, I don't know. We got Coach Scarberry scheduled to come on next. I don't know if you want to stick around, do a little basketball with us, or you want to get out of here. What you want to do, man? I
can hang around.
All right, we're going to bring on new Frederick Douglass head coach, Coach Wes Scarberry from Model. Is he from Model? That's from Model, right?
Yes.
Okay. Coach Scarberry, welcome to Big Thing County, Coach.
I appreciate you guys having me on. How's it going tonight?
All right, we just kind of wrapping up football season, and as we get ready for basketball season, we're going to welcome in the new man on the scene. Now, you from Model, correct?
Yeah, I was the head coach at Richmond Model for 12 years. Yes, sir.
Well, just kind of tell us, introduce us to Coach Wes Scarberry, Coach.
All right, well, I appreciate it. Been coaching over 20 years. Started my coaching career actually in Scott County. I was a middle school coach there for 1 year. That was way back in 2001. I had to think about that for a minute. I went to East Jessamine from there. I coached middle school for 2 years at East Jessamine, and then Coach Chris O'Brien brought me on to his staff at East Jessamine High School, where I also served as the athletic director. So I was there for 3 years and just really wanted to be a head coach. That was kind of my passion, something I've always wanted to be. And so the job at Model opened up, and in 2007, I took over there. And like I said, I was there for 12 years, and I feel really proud of what we did in my time there. After 5 years as the head coach, we were able to win the Class A region tournament in the 11th, and actually won a game at the state Class A tournament. We're actually the only team to ever beat University Heights in the first round that year, and had the honor of being the 11th region coach of the year that year. And that was a huge honor to be at a school as small as Model, and to be represented like that, and have that respect from the other coaches. And, had some great seasons, had some 20-win seasons there, some 18-win seasons. And when I left there in 2019, I joined the staff at Douglas, and was there for 1 year as an assistant coach with Kurt Young, and took the 2 seasons off after he left. And then I was fortunate enough to still be in the building this season, and got the honor of being the new head coach there, and looking forward to great things this year.
All right, Coach.
And then, Coach, man, first of all, how was it leaving Model, and I guess coming over to Douglas, a little change of atmosphere? How has it been so far as being at Douglas?
I love it at Douglas. It's a school that I would consider one of the best jobs in the state. Just the whole athletic program at Douglas is just phenomenal. We have a lot of support from our administration. Got to hear Coach McPeak there a little bit earlier, and Coach Poe, and just the camaraderie we all have in the building together as coaches and administrators is just phenomenal. I mean, it's just something I wasn't really used to, and just I mean, it's a pleasure. I think it's one of the best jobs in the state, one of the best schools in the state to be at as a head coach. And it's obviously a big difference. I mean, the size of the schools is a whole lot different. Competing at a very high level at Douglas against some of the best teams in the state right now. And I love being there. I love being at the top and just competing for hopefully a region championship again and having a chance to get us to Rupp Arena, which I think is every coach's dream to have that opportunity. And I think that's a real opportunity we have at Douglas this year.
All right, Coach. So now season is started. How's things going so far this first year, Coach?
I'd say one of the big changes and differences at Douglas, just to keep going on that last question, is the football program being so good. And this year, we're fortunate enough to have 12 football players who have joined the basketball team. And so we played our first 2 games without half our team, basically. So we went through the whole preseason, all the practices, all the weightlifting, all that stuff we did with 13 players and played our first 2 games without those guys and thought we competed really well at Lexington Catholic. You know, they ended up beating us by 12 points on their home court in our season opener. And then we were able to beat Letcher Central at home in our first game. And so we were 1-1 without those guys. And then they just joined us this week on Monday. And so that was really the first day we had our entire team together. And we're still missing Tylon. He took a week off. He had some illness. He was banged up a little bit still from football season. And so he wasn't able to play with us this week, but he'll be joining us tomorrow. And still competed really well this week. We beat Louisville Moore and Scott County in the Billy Hicks Classic this week. Didn't play quite as well yesterday against Great Crossing. Great Crossing had a lot to do with that. They're a really good team, good program. So, but for what we've done so far, only practicing, and that was more trying to get the football players up to speed on what we're doing on both sides, offense and defense. So I think we're going to get so much better the next time we see them, hopefully. And so I'm really pleased with where we're at right now. The good thing is we have 10 days off until our next game. And so we'll have a lot of work to do to get everybody kind of on the same page. And really, you haven't seen the Frederick Douglass team yet that you will on the 21st when we play our next game.
Well, we got Professor Jared Peck with us here. Jared, man, go ahead. You got a question for Coach?
How did Great Crossing look to you? I mean, they're picked as one of the top 10 teams in the state. Picked to win the region, but Madison Central is going to have something to say about that. I'm sure you want to have something to say about that. But they're long and they can score. But what did they do to you guys?
I was pretty impressed with them, honestly. They obviously a lot of size. I mean, that size gave us a lot of problem. They have 2 guys, obviously Moreno. I mean, everybody knows how great he is. I mean, he's 6'10", 6'11". But they also go, 6'7", 6'5", 6'4" in their starting lineup. And that length gave us some issues. And it was hard. It was hard to defend all those guys and that size. And like I said, we haven't had time to really work on defensively the things that we will be doing. And it was, offensively, our guys, they still haven't learned all the sets and what we're trying to do offensively. So, my hat's off to them. They're a great team. Obviously, that size will give a lot of teams problems. I think they're legit, in terms of being a top 10 team in the state. But I think we'll have more to say about that in March and hopefully give them a little better game than we did yesterday.
And the 42nd, you're not going to run into many 6'11" guys, I don't think. I don't think Bryan Station's got that guy. I think a lot of the teams in the 42nd look a lot like Douglas does. I mean, how do you like the changes there? Because you had a chance to look at Scott County, and Scott County has been running the 42nd, for a little bit. But Henry Clay woke up here last year.
Yeah, it's funny.
And Douglas has too.
We played 5 games and we played against 2 7-footers, and not too many coaches or teams have had to go against that yet. So, but yeah, that's going to test us, playing those teams, and that's what we want to do. I think you mentioned Madison Central. I have a lot of respect for Coach Feldhouse. I haven't been in the same district with him for 12 years. And one of the things I always admired about him is he would play the best teams in the state all year long and not really care about what their season record was, just trying to get his team ready for, the 11th region tournament. And then, if they had a chance to go to Rupp Arena. And I think that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to play the best teams we can in the season. And being in the 11th, you kind of have to. There's not a whole lot of nights off when you play in the 11th region. And our district, I would say, is one of the top districts in the state for sure. You're looking at Bryan Station. They've improved greatly the past couple of years. Henry Clay, like you said, made it to Rupp last year, 11th region champions. And Scott County. I mean, their tradition is second to none. And Sarah, to be a Class A school, is one of the best Class A schools, I think, around. And they do a great job. Their coaching staff does a great job. So, that's our goal. Obviously, we won 3 straight district championships, and our goal is to continue that. We get to host the district tournament this year. So that's clearly a goal that we have is to play well on our home floor at all times. So, like I said, our hands are going to be full with all those teams and competing against those teams. We don't start district play until January. And so I'm comfortable that our team will be ready. We'll be completely ready by then with everybody on board and on the same page with what we're doing. I like our chances. I think our kids, they work harder than anybody. I said that's one of the things that we will prove this year. We'll be one of the hardest working teams in the state. And when you work hard, good things happen for you. So, our goal obviously is to do that and hopefully get a chance to cut down the nets at EKU this year.
Now, Coach,
how do
man.
you go ahead.
Go ahead, Jared. Go ahead.
How do you keep Kai from feeling like the world's on his shoulders as the senior leader of that team, and get everybody else involved?
Yeah, Kai's got a lot of weight. He, he's thinking about colleges and what he wants to do when he graduates, and we talked about that actually today a little bit, back and forth through text messaging, some different schools he wants to look at. He has had a great start to the season and played really well this week, and was on the all-tournament team for the tournament this week. A lot of his issues, our sophomore class is so talented, and just kind of, those years are kind of different, and just trying to bring those guys, trying to teach them our program and what we're trying to do. Obviously, I knew Kai from when I was an assistant coach. We had a great relationship that year when I was helping Kurt, so that really helped. Having that impact with him and that relationship with him has really helped bring him along. I think he's really comfortable in the style of play that we're doing. He really feels that I believe in him as our team leader, and we talk every day, and he's comfortable with it. I mean, he's playing really well right now. He's confident in how he's playing, and once everybody gets up to speed and our offense starts to click, I think you'll see Kai having a lot of fun and enjoying this last year.
Now he's averaging about almost over 23 points a game. Then you got Mello Boone, coach, the sophomore, one of the sophomores you speak about. This young man averaged almost 22 points a game. You got Avion Chanel back. He's just played 2 games so far. He's already averaging 13 points a game.
Yep.
This is a special group of kids that you have here. And how's it been so far, getting them to buy into your system and how you do things?
I love these kids. It's nice to have that much talent on the basketball court, and it's just to have those guys and the ability they have to score is unlike a lot of teams have, and they're all kind of similar. They're similar in size. They're similar in the ability they have. We want to play really fast and get up and down the floor, and I think with most of our lineups, everybody can handle the ball. So I think we'll be a hard team to press. Even without the guys who played football against Lexington Catholic, we only had 6 turnovers for the game. And, they're traditionally in that 2-2-1 defense, and that gives a lot of teams fits. But we handled that really, really well. And really the whole tournament this week, I think the most turnovers we had was 15. That was against Scott County. Most of those we just were unforced errors. We just did to ourselves. But that's what I like about this team, the ability that everybody can handle the ball, they can get to the rack, they can shoot, and that just gives us so many options. And defensively, I think that's going to be the biggest issue that teams have against us is our ability to play really, really good defense. And again, having some length, Mello goes about 6'2", and Avion's about 6'3", and Kai's, we're all about 6'2", 6'3" across the board. Logan Buson's a really good defender. And so, you know, once those guys get in shape and we're able to do the things we want to do defensively, teams are going to have a lot of trouble, you know, scoring against us. I got to give a shout out to Chris Wright. He's also a sophomore. He played tremendous this week. I was really impressed with him. I mean, he only goes about 5'5", maybe 5'6", and his ability defensively to really shut down the other team's guards and give them fits. I was just really impressed with his play this week. And so I think we'll end up going, you know, 8 to 10 deep and be able to keep our kids fresh and be able to really challenge people the entire game, full court. And you know, hopefully wear teams down and keep our legs fresh. We can keep running up and down offensively. But our guys, I mean, I'm more than impressed with everybody we have right now. And again, those three are going to be our big three, you know, most of the season. Once Tylon gets back, I think that's going to add a fourth person, and with Logan's ability to handle the ball and get to the rim. You can't really key in on one of our guys. And if you do, you're going to get burnt by everybody else. So again, it's just a total team on both sides of the ball. And I think you'll see that in the coming weeks.
All right. I have some technical difficulties. Go ahead, Jared.
How much of a growth spurt have they had? I don't remember Boone and Chenault being 6'2" and 6'3". I mean, it doesn't seem like that was the case last year.
Yeah, they have grown.
grown?
Yeah, they have grown. I think if you look on Twitter, you'll see some clips of some things they were able to do this week. Melo, he had a couple dunks, and Avion had one of the best dunks I've ever seen in a high school game. He took an alley-oop from Kai and was able to dunk it pretty hard. So I think football's really helped Avion. His body looks really good. He's really strong right now. He's grown a lot physically. And Melo's been working hard in the weight room. I think he's about 6'2". Avion's a little bit taller than him. And so that's just the length that we have and things we can do defensively is going to be huge. And I think those guys joining us from football, again, they've been coached the right way. They're disciplined. You know, they know how to win. And that's a big part of what we want to do in our program.
All right. Y'all got anything else for Coach, man? All right, Coach, man. Well, we appreciate you. Wish you best of luck. We'll be around at the games.
Please do, guys. I appreciate
Coach?
you guys.
All right. All right, y'all. Well, Jared, man, we want to appreciate you for joining us. You know, Coach Bill, I think we had another successful live show. I blanked out there, lost my connection. I appreciate y'all for keeping it rolling.
You went from Android to iPhone. This is terrible up here. I don't know what's going on.
I think Brian Station sabotaged you.
Yes, we did. Yeah, Miss Jerry, man, it's been great talking about with you again this year, having you on. Of course, once you get your rest and get your bearings, we'll get you back on to talk about basketball. I got a few basketball questions for you, but man, we always appreciate the help and love, support you show us, man, as a program and stuff. And we appreciate you.
Yeah, I've enjoyed watching you guys. You know, I watched your guys' coaches show all through the playoffs, and it was a lot of fun and very informative. And I appreciate you guys, and thanks for having me on. And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, you too, Jared. Thanks, sir.
All right, Coach Dew. Anything else before we get out of here, man?
I don't know if we'll be back on with our big things. Our big things team, be on the lookout for that.
Yes,
but
sir.
If we don't see you before then, happy Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Salute to everybody, man. Love your family. Life is short. We appreciate everybody who's been rocking with us from day one and still rocking with us. It's been a blessing to my guy right here, one of my best friends in the world, Coach Truck, a.k.a. Lamar Bernard. I appreciate you. Coach TB, my guy. You know, he's been in and out this year, but Coach TB's always ramming the bushes. They say in the Bible, ramming the bush, we need him.
Yes, sir. You going to close us out, Coach.
Man, as always, just to be a living donor. I'm Coach Bill, my man, Coach TB on the side, Coach Truck.
Hey,